Your ego is your worst enemy in your dance journey. Hello, fellow dancers. Welcome back to the Addicted to Shimmy podcast show. This is Sol Calderon, director of Black Cat Belly Dance Studio. And today I'm very excited about this episode because we're going to talk about how to shut up your ego. What does that mean? Okay, let's get started. Your ego is your worst enemy in your dance journey. What do I mean by that? And I'm including myself in this topic. So let's get into it. So if you're a multitasker person like me, probably you want to listen to this podcast on Spotify because sometimes you're doing laundry, you're cooking or whatever. So I usually do that with my favorite podcasts. So I invite you to do so if you are like me, if you like to take advantage of your time. You can do that always. And let's go back to the topic. So how to shut up your ego. Let me start with a story, very quick, so we can always link the story with the topic. When I was a level 1, level 2 student, talking about my dance journey, I started doing cabaret style back in 2006, yes. And I remember that the most experienced dancers didn't hang out with us, with the beginners. So they were like too much for us, right? They were unreachable. They barely say hi to us. It was like their group, their community, and us, the beginners. We were just the beginners. So I don't know if that happens in your dance community as well. I'm not judging. I'm just describing the way it was back then in 2006 in Mexico, in my dance community, okay? I just want to clarify that. So in another hand, I have attended international events, dance events, and something very similar happens. Probably it's more subtle, but the good dancers hang out with the good dancers, right? It's very obvious. If you pay attention to it, if you are a detail-oriented person, you can notice it. So also on social media, we see thousands of videos every day. And the good dancers perform by themselves beautifully, by the way. And that's wonderful. But we barely see videos of teachers dancing with their beginner students. Well, I'm not talking about the video where the teacher is in the front, in the center of the screen, and the beginners of the rest of the class is back. And you can see them as the background. So they blend into the background. So the teacher who's teaching and dancing and showing them how to do the moves is the center, or the attention is focused on her. I'm not talking about that kind of videos. I'm talking about the videos where all the attention is in your students, in their performance, in their improvements, in their dance journey. I'm talking about that. So, as I mentioned before, we need to be congruent with what we feel, think, and say. What do I mean by this? So if you go to my Instagram account, Black Cat Belly Dance Studio, you're gonna see videos of me dancing with my students. So sometimes I'm leading them because they are learning, but usually it's one-on-one, right? And I'm not the center of the universe or the center of the attention on the video. I'm talking specifically about them, about my students. And let me tell you something. I have had a couple of students that they have text me and say, hey, can we dance together? I was, of course we can do that. And I always video them or video us, and I post the video if they feel comfortable with that. So I remember when I was living in Georgia, Miranda, one of my students and dear friends, she asked me, hey, can I go dance with you? And I was like, my pleasure, darling. So she drove down for 3 hours and a half to get to me and dance together. Do you think I'm not going to share that? That's amazing. That's wonderful. And I don't care if they are level 1, 2, 3 students or if they are certified dance instructors. I'm gonna do the same. I'm going to share the videos with the dance community because I like to recognize their effort and their work, right? Otherwise, I would be hypocrite if I say this but I don't do it. So you can go to my social media and you're gonna see plenty of videos related to my students, right? So that's very important. You have to be congruent. You cannot say something and do the opposite. I love that. I love to dance with my students. I love to see their improvements, and I really enjoy to showing off what they are doing. So how do you turn off your ego? Number 1, if you're a teacher, it's not about you. It's about your students. Number 2, celebrate the little wins of your students. Always, always, no matter what, right? Number 3, let them know how much they are improving. So if you give them positive feedback, they are going to feel more motivated to keep doing it. Number 4, ask them how they are feeling about their dance journey, specifically about them, not about how you're teaching. It's about them. How are you feeling? And you're gonna be surprised about what they have to say. Number 5, do a survey. Craft a couple of questions about your services and ask your students to fill it out. So what I have done is that I ask them not to write down their names so they feel comfortable expressing their truth. Because if you ask them, hey, how are you feeling about my class? They are going to say, hey, I'm good, you know. Probably they feel shy and they are not going to tell you the truth. So if you do a survey, like a questionnaire, and they don't write down their names, or you do it online or something, and they are going to give you the purpose of doing this is that you need to get truthful feedback so you can improve as a teacher, right? Because there is always room for improvement, and you're not gonna know if they don't speak out. So you want them to speak out and be brutally honest about your services, right? Because at the end of the day, they are paying for a service. So remember, it's not about you, it's about your students. Or if you're a troop leader, it's not about you, it's about your troop members. So let's keep that in mind, and thank you for listening or watching this episode, and hope to see you in the next one.